and welcome to Honest Car Reviews. My name is Eric and this is the Renault Megane RS Trophy R. Yeah, it is a long name, but it's also a very important name because this car is currently the world record holder for the fastest four-wheel drive car on the Nürburgring, surpassing the time set by the Honda Civic Type R. But it is the car with the carbon fiber rims and the carbon ceramic brakes that set that record, not this one. So this is not the ultimate package, but it's still a very expensive car from 60,000 euros. So my question today that I will try to answer is this car worthy of 60,000 euros? And what person is this car aimed towards? So we'll start with, of course, the exterior. And as you can see, the red rims, the cool red stripe, the Trophy R logo, the striping on the side, the carbon fiber diffuser on the rear, Akrapovic titanium exhaust with F1 cutoff. I mean, you can sense that this is no ordinary Renault Megane RS Trophy. And you would be correct, because the bonnet, which I will show you, is completely in carbon fiber. Completely carbon fiber. You can see here Renault, very carbon. And here's the engine, 1.8 liter turbocharged engine, 300 horsepower, 400 newton meters, the same as in the regular Trophy. So no increased horsepower output, but that's not what this car is about, because this car is about lightness. So this car has been reducing weight of 130 kilograms, which brings the total weight of about 1.3 tons to 1.4 tons, depending on EU regulation or whatever. If there's one person sitting in, there's different ways of measuring. No four-wheel drive steering, so that has helped reduce the weight, and they have integrated the handbrake. So the rear axle is where Renault has done a lot of reducing in weight, but also the rear here with the really big diffuser, and underneath a lot of smoothing out so that the air goes under the car without any distractions, which helps accelerating the air, which increase downforce. The car comes with Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s, and they're one letter away, which is R, away from being a race tire. So they're really sticky, and when they get up to temp, they get even stickier. Which means that when you're driving over some tarmac with some stones in it, they shoot up the stones in the arches, so you get that race car experience, but it feels like the car is about to be blasted by stones. The brakes are Brembo. The suspension is from Öhlins or Öhlins, this Swedish brand. So, I mean, you can sense that this car is just made for the racetrack. And with the carbon rims and the carbon ceramic brakes, this car is about 80,000 euros, maybe even more. It is an expensive car. But when you look at all the things that have been added and tinker with, it all starts to add up. And when you drive it, that's when everything becomes clear. Inside, there's no rear seats. They are replaced by just a shield in plastic, and you can even opt out a tire rack to have your race tires for going to track days and whatever. And you have a brace here, and the bucket seats are from Sabelt. The same is with the 6-point harnesses. Quality stuff throughout this car. I mean, real quality. And looking at the interior here, yeah, that's Renault's way of trying to immerse you in the experience. I don't know, it sounds quite tacky, but I understand what they're trying to do. What's unfortunately more tacky is the fake carbon fiber and this carbon fiber imitation textile fabric. But they need to cut corners somewhere. These RS embroidered red stitching bucket seats with this red everything. The color combo just echoes through. But I'll get into the car now. The car is not that much lower, but getting into the car in these bucket seats can be a bit difficult, and especially getting out of the car is even more difficult. And then you have the process of putting on the 6-point harnesses, which are not integrated into the ordinary seat belts. So you have to do some clever stuff, and you have to route the ordinary seat belts behind these bucket seats. Let's see here if we can get it in, and mount them like I'm doing here. So they go behind here and then mount in the standard way, so that there's no warning when you're driving. And sitting inside, it is quite bare bones, because the smallest speakers, the smallest infotainment screen, which I mean, it is from Renault, this is the smallest one, it is slow, it is not good, but it's not what the car is about. So I can forgive Renault for that. The only button that you need to use and you have to remember is this button, the RS drive, because that changes the entire characteristics of the car. Depending on which mode you are in, normal, this is yellow, and if you are in sport, you're in red, and if you're in race, then you're also in red. But I'll put on the Sparko, which are mine race gloves, because it is a special occasion. 6-speed manual transmission, which I'll talk about more. It is quite soft, and the clutch is more on the forgiving side, so that it's not grabby at all, which I quite like. It makes it more easy to drive in general. And the transmission is soft, and it's not as exact, it's not as distinct as the Honda Civic Type R's transmission. The car is actually quite unthirsty. Average about 0.65 liters per 10 kilometers if you're driving on the highway, maybe even a bit less. The turbo kicks in and at about 2,750 RPM. A lot of turbo cars, they just lose oomph at higher revs, but not with this one. Going into sport mode, you have some cracks from the exhaust, and if you're in track, there is so much cracks and pops. It is crazy. It cracks for days, which whatever revs you are in, the higher the revs, the higher the crack. But driving it like I'm doing now, not that aggressive, it's difficult to see the temptation of this car because it's uncomfortable. It is not a daily driver for sure. But I have had the pleasure of driving this on the track and compare it to the standard trophy, or standard as a hot hatch with quite high horsepower can be. But it is so competent, it is so stable. It is at the racetrack that this car shines, because it's too fast for the regular road. The steering is heavy, you have to work it, you have to work with the gear shifter. You really have to be on it, and you really have to focus, because with this car you have to respect it. You can't let the car drive you. You really have to drive the car, because if not, accidents might happen, because you're going so much faster than any other car. The person that will buy this car needs to be a proper petrol head. to appreciate it and spend those cash. The person that will drive this car from and to track and be on track days and really treat the hell out of this car and the manual gearbox, because it is so much more involved in driving a manual gearbox. But for any other person, it is very difficult to justify that price. And I understand, because I was one of them when I heard that price tag. But it is now that I'm driving it, I just never want to stop. Small corner coming ahead. You can just keep so much speed, and it is planted when the tires are up to temp. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous how fast this car can corner. Whew. It's so much adrenaline. It's so involving. It's amazing to drive on the limit. Freaking amazing. The straight line speed is there, no question about it, but it is the cornering that just blows your mind away. It's like the car is hardwired to your brain and just feeding the brain information. It is so unfathomably fun and visceral. Comparing this car with the standard trophy, the trophies from the beginning, such a good base package. It's difficult to justify almost double the price tag to buy this car when the trophy is so good, because I compared the trophy and the Trophy R, and I can properly say that if you're a novice or beginner, you will have more fun in the trophy than the Trophy R. But if you're a more experienced driver, you would understand everything that makes this car so great and so fun. That's my final conclusion for the Renault Megane RS Trophy R. See you next time.